Hey guys, I'm on a roll with these post-shower episodes. I just got out of the shower again like I did last time before I recorded the last episode, and I don't know, it's something about the shower, I guess, that stimulates thinking or connections or whatever. But I wanted to come on here today to talk about kind of a weird, I don't want to call it a tradition, ritual, or something I started maybe like 6 months ago. And it's pretty unique, it's pretty different, but I think it's helped me out in a lot of ways. And I figure maybe it could help somebody else out too, or maybe somebody else already does it. Maybe you guys already do it, and I'm not the first person that's thought of this, but it kind of happened by accident. I call them like pre-grieving rituals. I've actually never really created a name for what they are, but pre-grieving sounds appropriate, at least right now. So I'm just going to go with that. But basically what happened is about 6 months or so ago, I was stretching, and I was doing yoga, and this song came on that, just gets me every time. It's a beautiful song. It's amazing. It's actually one of the most beautiful melodies paired with lyrics that I've ever probably heard. It's called Supermarket Flowers by Ed Sheeran. And the song came on, and I don't know what it was about where my emotional state was at, the song, maybe the stretching, because, yogis will say that, our emotions are stored in our tissues, and when we stretch, they come out, or they can come out. But anyway, this song came on, and I just started grieving. But oddly enough, I started grieving the loss of people that still exist in my life, so people that are still alive. Mainly my mother, because the song is about the loss of a mother. But my mother, my father, my husband, my brother, people close to me, my friends, aunts, uncles, like even people that I don't really have an active, strong connection with currently. I just started grieving for the future loss of all of them. And I got really deep in this grief, and I was feeling it in my body, and it was crippling. Then I started transferring that grief, feeling that grief for myself and my own potential future losses, to channeling that as empathy, and then feeling other people that have lost their parents or their spouse or their siblings. Like I was thinking of my boss. I know he lost his mother, and I was just like able to put myself in his shoes and like feel that grief and feel this insane compassion for him. And just thinking about people with illnesses and hardships, and just like I just fell into this really deep mourning and this deep grief. But the profound part of that was I was feeling this grief for people that I can and will lose in my life, but they're still alive. And I was like, this is really odd, because usually in the past for me, grief has only came up when I've actually lost someone, or a pet, or a grandparent, and that's when it happens, and then you're sad, and then you move on, and then it comes up from time to time, but you deal with it, and then you move on. But this grieving was really different, because the people I was grieving for were still alive. And I thought, whoa, like that's kind of cool, because that experience kind of happened by accident. Like I said, I was just stretching, the song came on, and it happened. But since that day, I've actually been using it in two ways. One, sometimes it just happens again. Sometimes I'm just, kind of at my max of maybe pushing stuff away, or I'm kind of closed off, and it happens. But two, sometimes I actually try to prompt one of those sessions if I feel like I need to be cracked open a bit. If I feel like I'm closed off and I actually want to open myself up a bit. Sometimes that song usually does it. I can put it on, and it just makes me cry and feel those emotions. But I thought about it, and from that time, that first incident when this happened, what I did was I felt all this overwhelming grief. And something in me was like, you need to do something with this. You need to channel this in some way. It needs to be productive. You can't just feel all these feelings, all this sadness, all this grief, and then not do anything with it and just sit with it. And so I thought, what if I used this as a tool, as a practice of some sort to grieve, to channel this grief for these people that are still alive in my life, to feel their passing, to feel, I mean, of course, it's not going to be the same as the actual feeling. I 100% see that. But what if I can tap into a portion of that feeling, a portion of that grief, a portion of that sadness, and really feel it in my being as much as I possibly can in that moment, and then channel that into gratitude that they're still alive, and mindfulness and presence when I'm with these people, because I can access the potential loss and access those sad feelings, know that they will come and will amplify when they're actually here in real form. But I can take those feelings, take that sadness, take that loss, and feel that as a sort of cracking open, and then now channel that to presence when I'm with these people. I can remember that grief. I can remember that loss that I felt in that moment when I was pre-grieving, as we'll call it, and then bring that over to an interaction with my mom, or dinner with my husband when I feel like I'm distracted and not present, or whatever it is. I can take that and channel that. So from that day on, I started to do that when I would have these pre-grieving sessions. I would do that. And it worked. I would think about every time I found myself not present with the people that mattered most to me, I would bring up those feelings of loss and sadness and grief, and I would say, oh, wow, that's going to happen one day. I've already felt a taste of it, and damn, life is way too short. I need to be here with these people right now because I love them, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And it's really changed the game for me in presence, in just being here with people, because there's so many things that we just get caught up in with our own lives. And today actually kind of brought this whole thing full circle to me, because the past couple of weeks my mom has been asking me to she just got this she got a coffee bar done in her house, and it's like this huge chalkboard. It's amazing. She loves decorating her house is like her thing. Decorating and baking, those two things. And my mom, she thinks very simply. She's very childlike, and sometimes I resist this because I'm so analytical and serious that sometimes I just resist her, because she's very childlike. She loves the simple things. She loves baking. She loves decorating. She just gets excited when she gets to go to an antique store. She's not super self-analytical. Of course, I don't know what fully goes on in her internal world. You can't judge someone fully by what you see on the exterior. But from what I know of her, she's not overly critical like me. She doesn't overly analyze everything. She just kind of lives, and she loves the little things. And I resist that in her sometimes, instead of using it as a tool to tap into my inner child and my simplicity. And I don't like that I do that, but I do. We're human. And what I found myself doing the past couple of weeks, so she got this coffee bar done, and it's a chalkboard, and she loves my lettering. I do very good lettering. I can write letters and messages in really cool font. And so she's been asking me to write, she's thinking of starting a baking business called Mama Donna's, because her name is Donna. And she's been asking me to write this Mama Donna's on her chalkboard in big lettering. It's like a big focal piece in the living room. And she's been asking me for a couple of weeks. And I was, I've been putting it off. I've just been like, oh, I'll do it today, and then I don't. I'll do it next week, and then I don't. And I keep promising her, and I'm not doing it. And so I had it on the schedule again today for me to do it. And I was, oddly enough, stretching this morning, and Supermarket Flowers came on, and the spontaneous grieving session happened for me. And I listened to the song, especially because it's a song about losing a mom. it overwhelmed me, and I was like, Jesus Christ, Ashley. I'm like, the weeks have gone by and I am not prioritizing this little thing, that my mom wants me to do. And, God forbid if something happened to her, it's like, I know that I would be thinking about that because I've been pushing it away for just ridiculous things, like not prioritizing it. My stuff is more important. I'm building a business. I'm doing all these other things. So it's like all that stuff is more important, right, than making a sign for my mom who's been asking for it. But I mean, they're not. It's just our mind wants us to think that we don't have time, or, these other things don't matter as much. But this morning, I was just thinking about losing her, how I will lose her, if the timeline of events happen that way, you never know in life. But I will lose her one day, and I got really sad about that. And then it like lit a fire under my ass. Like, what are you doing? Like, clear everything you're supposed to be doing this morning and prioritize that damn sign. And she's actually out Christmas shopping, and it was great because I'm here at her house, and she got so excited because she loves decorating for Christmas, and she's going out to buy all of her new decorations, and she was just like a kid running around the house with the dogs and saying how excited she was. And man, I mean, I'm a realist. It's like, she's out right now. Something can still happen to her, and she will never see that sign. And I did it this morning. I loved it. It's up on the wall waiting for her when she comes home. But, I hope everything lines up and that, she's able to come home and nothing happens and see that sign, because it's there waiting for her. And it was yet another reminder that it's like the littlest things that we put off are sometimes the most important. And then also on the experience of creating the sign, I don't know, I was resisting it for many reasons, but I got out chalk and I had a blast, and I felt artistic and creative, I felt artistic and creative, and I tapped into my child, and it was fun. And I'm like, as I was doing it, and after the experience of the song this morning, it was like, why the hell am I putting this off? Like, this experience was good for so many reasons. And it's again, another one of these parts of life that to me are just so silly, because it takes us a while to get into these experiences that are so simple and so fun and so meaningful, but we just put them off for all the harder, more stressful stuff. And it's yet another reminder to myself and anybody who's listening to, prioritize relationships, prioritize the little things where you can have presence for someone, and also doing things for other people. I don't do this enough. I'm very selfish. I prioritize myself, and I think it's largely because I feel like I've become aware to how much I've pleased others my whole life, and I've sacrificed myself to do that. And then ever since I became hyper aware of that, it was just like, fuck everybody else. I need to do everything for me, and I'm not going to prioritize everyone else. I kind of swung to the other side of the spectrum, and that's not good either. So I'm learning how to integrate doing things for others without sacrificing myself in the process, and it's kind of been hard to integrate that back in because I've become very selfish over the past couple of years. I mean, probably always been selfish to some degree. We're all highly self-absorbed beings. It's just kind of how we are as humans, especially with all the stressors and things around us causing us to go inward and just focus on ourselves. But I'm really trying to work on doing things for other people, and doing this thing for my mom today, and I know how happy she's going to be when she comes home and she sees it. I can already picture her reaction, and that's going to be so great. And it's like, why the hell don't I do more things like this? Like, this experience, like I've just been saying, for everything about it was so great this morning. Realizing that I've been putting it off, realizing that I've just been a selfish bitch about it, realizing that it was so fun creating something, feeling good doing it for my mom. Like, I don't know, everything about it felt great. And I think what also gave life to these feelings was that pre-grieving that I was just telling you guys about, that cracking open of myself and my realization that my mom is not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be here forever. We don't know how things are going to happen. So bringing ourselves back to that moment of the moment that we have right now, not the future, not the past, but what we have right now in front of us, and prioritizing those things and making those things count and making those things matter. Because when it comes down to it, moments with the people that you love, that you're present for, that's enough. I can't speak for everybody on that, but for me, it really is enough. And I do not make those type of moments a priority. It's like, what would my life look like, and what would all of our lives look like if we really made those moments a priority above anything else? Now, of course, we've got things going on in life, and we have responsibilities and obligations, and we have to do those things, but not everything is an obligation or a responsibility. I feel like the mind tricks us and makes us think that everything, that we have to do everything's a responsibility. It's like, I can't go, a day without doing this, or not looking at my business, or, whatever it is. Your mind thinks that you can't go a day without doing it, but you probably can. You can probably push things way more than you think you can to prioritize the things that are meaningful and that are actually going to fill you up and fill those around you up and give your life meaning. And I just came full circle for me today, felt called to come on here and share this. And I'm excited to see my mom when she comes home and see her reaction to her sign. And I'm so happy I did it. And I'm very grateful that I got the reminder again today from the universe that of impermanence, really. If you guys have not heard that song, Supermarket Flowers by Ed Sheeran, you got to listen to it, because damn, that song touches a part of me. That song touches a part of me that I don't think any other song or experience has. Just because of the melody, the lyrics, and then after the first two verses, there's an instrumental part, and I just die. I fall into grief. And yeah, one more thing about this pre-grieving, it helps you crack yourself open to your own relationships, but also, at least for me, I can speak on my own experience, it helps me really have compassion for other people, because the first time it happened, when it just happened out of nowhere when I was stretching, I felt this insane compassion for my boss, because I was picturing, so, him and I, we have a great relationship, but we butt heads sometimes. Sometimes he drives me absolutely crazy, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I cannot, he's very tyrannical, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I just can't do this anymore. But of course, those feelings are temporary. And then they go away when I actually take some responsibility for how I'm handling the situation. But sometimes I just get locked up in just resisting him in a way. And I was in one of those times with him when the first experience happened with this pre-grieving. And when the song came on, I just imagined him as a child, as a little boy. And he lost his mom. And he lost his mom as an adult, but I imagine his inner child as an adult in his form now, losing his mom. And I just felt so much compassion for him. And then it's like all the resistance that I felt for him in that moment just completely melted away. Feeling this compassion for him and this sadness and this empathy. And it also makes me think of the concept that I try to do sometimes when I have extreme resistance towards people, especially people that have hurt me, and I just cannot break down that resistance. I still have some people in my life, even family members, where I'm just like, I want to love them so bad, and I know I love them deep down, but there's just this thick resistance there because they've hurt me, and it hurts, and I don't know how to break the wall down. So what I try to do sometimes, and it does work a little bit. Obviously, if the resistance is really thick, you're going to have to work a lot harder at this, but what I try to do is I try to just imagine them as their inner child, them also being hurt, and them also being vulnerable and scared and fearful, and imagining them as that. And I pair a lot of these thoughts with music. The Gladiator theme song, I think it's called Now We Are Free. That's another one that touches me in very deep places. And what I do with that song, a ritual I have with that song is I actually imagine all of the people that I'm resisting in my life as children. So I imagine myself as a child, and I imagine them as children, and I imagine us all running in a field free, in our free child forms, laughing, playing, being silly, running around, no care in the world. I imagine that. And when I imagine that and I see all of the people I resist as little children just having fun and being free, that resistance will temporarily lift. And I cry and I just fall into those feelings, but it feels really good. I mean, it feels scary, actually, if I'm being transparent, because feeling those things are scary because of impermanence, right? We get scared of loving and feeling good things because we know that they will end one day. That's what's so fascinating but horrifying as a human being. It's like you get to experience these amazing feelings if you have the courage to tap into them, but once you tap into them, you realize that they will end, and then that almost like scares them away. So it's a dance that we all play. But yeah, I kind of going on here, but the main message here is just, gosh, this is more to me than anything, but it's kind of how we all are, right? We all preach to other people what we actually want to hear ourselves. The moment I learned that and I heard that somewhere, I was like, whoa, what a cool lesson in life. You preach to other people, but you really want to hear that advice, so it's like, pay the fucking close attention to what you say to other people, because that's the advice that you actually probably want to hear yourself. And what I'm trying to tell myself right now is prioritize presence with the people that you care about, because gosh, if you can do that, I just feel like life is okay. If you can do that, life is really okay. Life is still suffering, it's fucking hard, but if you can have good ass moments with people that you love and that you're present for, it's like, what else do you need? What else do I need? I don't really need much more than that. I'm a pretty simple person. I like good ass food and good times, and that's the islander in me. It's the islander vibes. My family's from Hawaii, and that's just good food, good company that you're present with. Man, you can't ask for anything else than that. So all right, well, I'm actually getting ready to go shopping with my husband. We're gonna go to this cool home furniture store, handmade stuff. I'm excited. I'm gonna get to show him that. He loves handmade stuff. He loves good workmanship. So we're about to head out, and perfect timing. Got 4 minutes to spare, so I'm glad I got this message in. And yeah, if any of this resonates with you, that's awesome. I'm excited about that. And I was talking to my husband yesterday about my motive and my intention behind doing this podcast. And I guess I mean, it's for a lot of reasons I've already talked about in other episodes, but I guess one of the things I also hope to spark in other people is self-analysis and self-inquiry, because you can move mountains paying attention to yourself and your unproductive behaviors and things that you may be missing. And I hope to spark that in people, because gosh, you guys only fucking know how crazy I am with self-analysis and introspection and trying to constantly grow and constantly learn. It consumes my mind, and it's kind of what I do every single day, and it's what I hope to spark in other people. So cool. Well, thank you for listening, and I think my husband's ready to go. So I will, I guess until next time.